Cool beans.
Cool beans.
All right. So you know how this runs, right? Chilling with Sasquatch. We check out some videos. We comment on them. We move along.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
Where are you gonna put her channel picture?
Oh yeah, we're gonna do that total thing. That thing's happening right now. Watch this.
Found myself dancing between two very different perspectives. I treated the post where people claimed that they had broken the login and found vast amounts of everything from classified government documents to snuff videos with skepticism. As Barely Sociable claims in his video, what's most likely going on here is that this has been one long string of telephone. Users may have fixated on the idea that Mortis.com was hosting terabytes of data in 1997 when this was not confirmed. It is far more likely that Occam's razor is at play here, that the simpler explanation is the truth, and that the domain was dormant for almost a decade before the increasing affordability of hosting data and improved uploading speeds allowed a Thomas Ling to download and stream videos through the Mortis.com domain. Despite this, something still feels uncomfortable and out of place when it comes to this domain. Why would someone go through such lengths as to wipe the records of the website off the internet? Something still seems very off when it comes to this mystery. If it were possible to go back to the website when it was still online and have the correct login details, I'm not certain what we would find when pulling back the curtains. What do you guys think hides behind the domain of death? Let me know down in the comments or over on my Discord. If you haven't already, check out Barely Sociable's video covering the topic, as he does an amazing job and gives great insight onto the mystery. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing or checking out my other videos, as it really helps me out. Thanks again, and have a good night.
Yeah, so
That totally happened.
so this came up on my shorts, I guess, and so then it was weird. So I went into my notifications to try to go into regular, and when I went to regular, it still was. It wasn't the same format as when I rolled across it in shorts, but it was skinny screen, vertical. It was vertical format even when I went through it the other way, so that everything was tiny and there's big black wings.
Everything is in vertical on this portrait mode setting. It's a feature
So
in Streamyards.
that's what you did. You set it to portrait mode.
Yeah, but if you're using any kind of a screen capture of any sort, once you set it to portrait mode, you have to go in and reset everything to function in the same format. It's not that hard, but it hasn't been exactly smooth sailing, but I'm figuring
Right
it
at
out.
the beginning, when you're in StreamYards and setting up your stream, you do it there. It's there.
At any point in time. Actually, this last time, the first time, yeah, I had to create the StreamYards, create the live stream, and then go in and switch it to portrait mode, and then back out and restart the window so that it could read my OBS camera in the right frame rate and stuff.
Okay.
But if you're not using any of that, if you're just using a phone, this is perfect for you, especially if you're not going to be showing a lot of visuals like I do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I got a lot of crap going on my screen.
Mm-hmm.
Then if you're just doing a panel show, this is perfect. Perfect. I mean,
Perfect.
there are random people scrolling through all the time, and you could come across the most interesting person alive. And he might
I know,
not even.
weird enough, I was one of those people just a second ago.
But you're subscribed.
Yes, I don't count anymore. What?
I know, right?
That's not what I said you're already subscribed. These are two totally different concepts.
There's a check mark next to me, so ta-da, done.
Oh, cool. That's neat.
I have pulled this one into my cult. Now for some new ones. Go forth and find me minions.
I cannot have a cult. I promise my mommy.
I know I know. That's why we call it something else, I guess.
I have a YouTube channel apparently.
Yeah, that's what we call it. That's what we call it.
That the internet destroyed critical thinking.
Nah. It started a bunch of people critical thinking. So
yeah, but I think maybe the people that should be critical thinking have stopped, and the people that shouldn't be have started. That's not necessarily a great thing.
no, but that is absolutely in line and on par for humanity.
Yeah, okay. Self-destruction being what it is. So
Yeah.
this video is about how the modern internet unwires your ability to problem solve, because rather than solving the problem, you just Google it or you look up a YouTube video to show you how to do it. Right. So,
Oh, or the fucking trolls come into your channel and tell you you're lazy and what a piece of shit you are for trying to, think for a new
but
thing.
I
Because
thought
that's what happened to me.
I already mentioned that this is YouTube.
Yeah. But like that one early video I got where my husband had just had his leg cut off, but he lived on the second floor, and I'm cooking his meal, and to keep me from having to up and down the stairs so much for him, he made this little lower it down basket, and I put his meal in it and took a video of it, and it was so cute. So,
You made
and then
really
motherfucker, if somebody didn't come in there going, that's what we call lazy. And so I proceeded to give him a couple of paragraphs about how, oh, I'm sorry, did my husband's leg getting cut off offend you? Fuck you.
Well, I mean, when it comes to trolls, you're going to have them. They're kind of like the syphilis of YouTube. There's nothing you can do about it. You will eventually catch a few. The trick is that when they come in, instead of triggering on their response, you should like sort of lean into it.
Because I pin them at the top and then ream them out in the comment after it.
What's up, Scrappy Dreams? Good to see you, Russell.
Or I just pin it and don't say anything and hope that my precious little weirdos will come to my defense, and they usually do.
Natural troll. This chick lives under a bridge. All right. So anyway, the internet killed critical thinking. You're breaking the show.
Whether you like it or not, the internet is making NPCs. Everywhere you go, everybody has the same opinion, the same thoughts. No one is their individual selves. Even for yourself, you might have noticed that you might find it harder and harder to concentrate. Movies or books that could have kept you.
Snark and Sass, this one's directed straight at you.
Really?
A little bit, yeah. So the channel's name, hold on. All of the links are available in the description. If y'all want to go check out the channel, I really strongly advise you do it. It's called Moon. So no complaints there. That's literally the channel name, Moon.
Oh yeah, I watch him sometimes.
Yeah.
You entertained for hours can barely hold your attention. You might find you're more easily distracted, jumping from one bit of content to the next in seconds. And it's not just you. The internet is transforming people's brains and making them worse at critical reasoning, worse at focusing, and simply stupider. It seems counterintuitive to say the least. Everyone's walking around with 100 libraries worth of books in their pocket. Surely people having a world of information at their fingertips could only make them smarter. It's like imagining a world where everyone has plenty of food.
Hello, official misconduct. Welcome in. Fallen Star, good to see you. Welcome in. How you doing, bud? Anybody else want to say hi to anybody? Who else we got in here? We got
Hey, Star.
Snark and Sass and Ajot are also streaming. So some of y'all are in there. No? Okay.
Food, but people are getting hungrier. It just doesn't really make sense. That is until you think about how that information is being delivered. It might be true that billions of people around the world have all of this knowledge. It's all just sitting there a couple clicks away. However, the problem is that most people aren't reading it. Imagine you gave every kid in the world a magic button. When they press it, they can pick out whatever food they want from a massive menu, and it will instantly appear in front of them. All of them would choose their favorite food, something they knew they loved and that they were familiar with. If they could keep the button, they'd end up eating their favorites for every meal. You'd end up with a lot of chocolate wrappers and empty soda cans lying all over, as well as a lot of fat kids. And this is the problem we face today. We can choose from Google's almost infinite menu for whatever content we'd like, but most people end up choosing the intellectual equivalent of candy time and time again. Things that they know they'll enjoy, and that don't challenge them at all. A never-ending supply of content they know they'll love, delivered straight to their brains on a never-ending conveyor belt. Ever since they began measuring it in the early 19...
Welcome in, John Smith, 2046. And I think that's cat in a new form. I'm not certain. C4T or was that C:4? I think. Does anybody know?
It's C. Yeah, no, it's not colon. Yes, I don't know. No, it's colon. Yeah, it's C4. Just C4. C4.
Okay. All right, close enough for government work.
1900s, IQ scores have increased by around 3 points every decade. And while IQ might not be equivalent to intelligence, it's at least strongly correlated. Whether you think it's because of better education, better diet, or a mixture of factors, we have been getting smarter. That was until a few years ago, as new studies on kids born and brought up during the pandemic have shown that their IQ has dropped an awfully large amount. One study by Brown University that is still undergoing.
Those are future voters, I might add.
What?
Right? Those are future voters whose IQ has been chopped 20 points off the top by the lockdown.
And these are what the old guys are always saying throughout history. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing changed. It's all the same, even though change is the only constant.
Lockdown changed stuff. I mean, you have children growing up who didn't see an actual friendly face for like 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
There's some families that are still running around wearing masks. There's still children out there who are under that particular type of tyranny. And it's weird to me, but okay.
Healthcare.
Welcome in, bootlicker.
Peer approval showed that, quote, children born during the pandemic have significantly reduced verbal, motor, and overall cognitive performance compared to children born pre-pandemic. Another similar study by Columbia University showed that in fine motor skills, general motor skills, and personal social skills, babies born in the pandemic were significantly worse off. It all amounts to decades of cognitive development getting wiped out in just a few short years. Now, the reason why is hard to say right now. It isn't because of COVID-19 itself. The study included mothers who had been infected whilst pregnant, and it didn't have much of an impact at all compared to healthy mothers. Instead, the study suggests it's due to stress. With the pressures of possibly losing their jobs, limited social contact, and moving fully online, tons of people were suffering. And parental stress is known to negatively impact the cognitive health and development of children, so it does kind of make sense. And it is pretty much a certainty, however, that the internet isn't directly to blame yet. While it might have stressed out the parents and had a knock-on effect, no one-year-olds are posting on TikTok or Twitter, even though it might seem like it sometimes with the rise of iPad kids. The important point, though, is that straight out of the gate, kids are being made dumber by how messed up the world's become. Once these kids go online, though, it's a different story. That's when they get thrown headfirst into the maelstrom of information and get influenced by the algorithms. We live in an increasingly online world. The first thing that lots of people do after waking up is opening their phones. It's replaced or is replacing pretty much every other medium of information. In short, it's the new portal into the modern world. The problem is, though, that the internet's a much more passive yet addicting way of consuming information. Every new headline or post you read is like a mystery box for your brain. It doesn't know what it's going to find, and most of the time it's boring. You can skim tens of hundreds of posts before you find one that actually interests you. You can idly click through the same amount of YouTube videos before finding one you actually want to watch. It's the process that matters in the end, the uncertainty of when you'll get the next hit. It's this process that drives people towards behavior far more efficiently than regular expected rewards. In studies, rats who sometimes get a reward from pushing a button are far more motivated and push the button far more often than rats that always get that reward. It's the same logic behind games, selling people loot boxes instead of just actually selling the loot itself. But what does this mean for kids brought up on these systems? When their window into the world is itself a version of the system of gambling for uncertain rewards, what are the effects? If you've seen a kid who's completely enthralled with their mum's iPad and throws a tantrum if it's taken away, then you've already seen it. This is something society has realized, although it might not have really accepted it yet. You see, the World Health Organization recommends that schools have strict rules about smartphones and that parents and teachers should drastically limit screen time. The 2019 announcement came after studies showed that intensive use was implicated in poor memory, psychological problems, and mental health issues, as well as text comprehension problems. In other words, smartphones make kids forget things easier, makes them depressed, and makes them worse at reading. Their mistake, though, was in not expanding the advice to people above the age of 18. So, what's it doing to adults? If kids were the only ones whose brains were changing and transforming under these pressures, then they'd be the only ones really
Welcome in, Chris R. Good to see you, bud.
affected, but everyone from the cradle to the grave has a degree of neuroplasticity. It seems obvious when you think about it. You're always creating new memories whenever you're conscious. These are the brain forming new connections or reliving old ones that it recognizes. So whatever age you are, your brain is constantly changing and adapting itself to its environment. The problem is with the modern environment we find ourselves in. In the West, at least, pretty much everyone owns a smartphone and interacts with the internet in some way. Some older people might have chosen not to partake, but among 16 to 24-year-olds in the UK, over 95% own smartphones, and on average, they check them every 12 minutes. The way that so much of our lives are lived through the internet and through screens makes it far less noticeable than other addictions. If you order your groceries, read your news, and get your entertainment from one device, then it'll become second nature. It makes the cycle of addiction for smartphones and internet use far easier to fall into.
If you don't believe you're addicted to a smartphone, leave it at home one day.
Oh, dude, sit through 8 or 10 or 12 hours of your phone being out from the time you wake up and then do a video like I did of disjointed dystopian terror.
Well, no, I'm saying that was without choice. I'm saying choose to leave your phone one day. Don't just decide you're not going to look at it, because you'll never do that if it's there. But if you leave your phone at home, you will spend the rest of the day patting your pockets trying to find it.
I picked that phone up 100 times knowing there was not a damn thing I could do on it.
It's motor memory.
That's why I made that video. Yeah, it was motor memory. Yeah, muscle memory.
And you're like, oh, I'm just gonna. No, I'm not. Oh, I'm just gonna. No, I'm not.
Did you see that video I made? It was quite the cinematic masterpiece. I was told that I really did convey the dystopian drama.
It was nerve-wracking, that's for sure. True. But what I'm getting at is, if you're one of these people who pat for your phone every 2 seconds, welcome in, my flock. Don't judge me. Good to see you.
Hey, flock.
These are the same activities that a cigarette smoker without a cigarettes do, that a cigar smoker without his cigars do, that a drinker without his drinks do, that an alcoholic does looking for the bottle, that a junkie does. He it's the same mental trap. In fact, it's the same chemical compound that causes you to become addicted. Oxytocin.
Absolutely.
So just consider that, man. That can't be good for us. And here I am perpetrating it myself. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, but there's also the whole side of it. I mean, everything's got pros and cons, because I wouldn't talk to anybody except the ladies at the dollar store or the cigarette shop. If I didn't have this, I wouldn't have any socializing at all.
You wouldn't make the effort to socialize a bit more just because it wasn't there?
With who?
I don't know.
Yeah, see?
I don't live your life. I know people
I see the neighbor across the fence and wave and talk to her dog. That's about it.
Right. Might need to get another dog.
Oh, I've got plenty of dogs. I mean, technically, I am socializing with the critters.
Yeah,
but I'm not sure how healthy that ends up being.
I mean, they don't talk back. That is the downside.
The thing is I do hear them talking back, so that might be a problem. I don't know.
Welcome in, Logical Spock. Good to see you.
Hey, Spock.
Anyway, I agree with this dude. I think it's melting our brains. I think it's melting our children's brains. I can see the effect between, just my oldest daughter and my youngest daughter. There's a huge difference between the way these two people go about solving problems.
Yeah.
My oldest daughter, she takes a swing at it, fails, and then searches. My youngest daughter immediately goes to a video to find out how to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And then can't tell you anything about it after she's finished doing it, which blows my mind. That blows my mind.
Yeah, the mind wipe afterwards because you don't need that information anymore. Yeah.
I don't get that. But okay.
The internet has made it much easier to learn everything about anything, but at the same time, it can be really hard to figure out what information is accurate. Most of the time, we assume the first headline or Google result we read is the truth, but that doesn't give us the full picture. And there's a way to actually break free from the internet's algorithms and echo chambers using a website and app called Ground News. They gather related articles from around the world and across the political spectrum in one place so that you can compare coverage on any given story and easily see a source's political bias, reliability rating, and ownership. And having all these different perspectives in one place actually forces you to think critically about what you're reading, and is essential when it comes to the issues like the Israel-Hamas war, where there really are no easy answers. For example, this story about South Africa taking Israel to international court, accusing them of committing genocide against Palestinians in Gaza, has been dominating the news cycle. Up top, there's a quick summary of this court case from the left, center, and right-leaning perspective. And
good to see you, PDF. Welcome in, bud. That's Poor Dirt Farmer for y'all that don't know.
here you can see more than 500 sources have been reporting on it worldwide. With all of this chatter, it's so important to separate facts from opinions, which is why I like comparing headlines to see how the case is being framed across the political spectrum. Left-leaning sources described Israel's actions in Gaza as devastating, and their response to lawsuits as propaganda, whereas right-leaning sources called South Africa's case hypocritical and even anti-Semitic. Only getting your news from one source can skew how you view the world, leaving you with blind spots and biases. But Ground News has a blind spot feed for that exact reason. It highlights stories disproportionately covered by one side of the political spectrum. Anyone can form an opinion, but forming an opinion based on a balanced perspective is what makes you a critical thinker. And with that, you have the power to combat misinformation and not be an NPC. The internet can actually be a trustworthy space again with platforms like...
I'm pretty sure that what the internet does is make all of your little wrinkles smooth.
Now, so the internet is the great mind ironer.
Your wrinkles smooth.
You know, you become one of those smooth brain people who believe what you hear.
We've all become koala bears with chlamydia.
I don't have chlamydia, but I would like to be soft and fuzzy if you don't mind.
They come with a smooth brain and chlamydia.
Koalas have smooth brains?
Yes. They're dumb as fuck. They're like the dumbest animal there is.
Oh, okay. So they're like dumb on the scale of marsupials dumb.
They're like ridiculously dumb. That's why they're drop bears. That's why they kill people falling out of the tree because they had sex. And when they came, they let go and kill people.
All right. Well, moving on.
Funded by media companies or big tech. Their only agenda is to make the news transparent, and plans go for as little as $1 a month to make it widely accessible. So take back control of how you consume news and go into ground.news/moon, or click my link in the description to subscribe for less than $1 a month, or get 40% off the Unlimited Access Vantage plan, the same one I use to provide you societal commentary grounded in facts. I really believe this is the future of news. How does using your smartphone actually change your brain? Anecdotally, it's far more obvious in kids whose brains are far more malleable. This video of a kid swiping on an imaginary iPad in his sleep tells you all you need to know. But scarily, what might seem like a slightly unbelievable video turns out to have a scientific basis. One study examined how the brains of people who regularly use touchscreens change over time. Those who use them a lot, like smartphone addicts, show an increase in cortical potential for their thumbs and index fingers. It means that people's brains got so used to overusing their thumbs and certain fingers, giving the parts of the brain that direct them.
All right. So that's the 1 hour mark. And I'm going to use this moment to fix this because I screwed it up.
Hey, gamer, I think you're full of it. I think there's not a single article that you have written that has any value.
Wow.
Wait, no. She's got a mouth. I want you to hear this, right? So if you're familiar with gamer news at all, this might interest you a little bit. All right. So this is the hijabi gamer. And she's a gamer, obviously, and she has opinions, and I love them sometimes.
Hey, gamer, I think you're full of it. I think there's not a single article that you have written that has any value. Mary Sue? Mary Sue? The only value your articles would have, the problem with the Mary Sue is it's not written, so you can't use it as toilet paper. Yeah, Mary Sue, nothing you say is of value. You are pure garbage. I have yet to see a single article from the Mary Sue worth the paper it would be printed out on if you printed it out. I am amazed you have not yet gone broke. I will not go to Kotaku, Polygon, the Mary Sue, or the gamer. I would rather just listen to other people talking about it so I don't give you my view. You are pure trash of the kind that's just absolutely unredeemable. And this is coming from a woman, by the way, Mary Sue. Obviously, woman. And I think you're full of it. Come on. I hope I hurt all your little delicate little fifis. As someone who really enjoys playing video games and who hates all of this nonsense, my favorite characters are K6, Ghost from Destiny, and Viso. They have nothing in common with me at all. And yet, I can relate, especially with Viso. I can relate to Viso. The fact that you need people, that you need to see yourself on screen to think that you have any self-worth. All right? It's just sad.
She trips me out to no end.
I mean, at first I was thinking, oh, I thought you brought that up because I made you think, hey, I should bring this up and tell this bitch to shut up. But then as it got to the end, I was really appreciating the message.
Right. Basically, she has a problem with the game people that specifically choose ones. They hate games. These gamer magazines hate games. They hate game makers. They hate playing games. They hate talking about games. They hate being forced to do this work that involves games because they want to be real reporters. And instead they're talking about games. They don't like it. And so it shows in their work. So any decent game out there that's been looked over by these magazines has been completely poo-pooed for the past 10 years. And all of the crappy games that simply toe the line and deliver the message have been touted as absolutely amazing, when none of these game magazines actually have people who play the games. They get early release copies, they turn it on, they run around for a second to see the art, and that's what they do their stories on. Go look at their stories. Almost all of them could be summed up in the first 15 minutes of playing. That's
really sad, because I mean, part of the really cool part of the internet about having all the really specific coverage of really specific topics, you know, is to be able to get good opinions and good information from it, and to think that there's reporters on a genre that hate reporting on a genre just makes me sad.
It's depressing. And what's worse is, as a byproduct of this, you have channels like Nerdrotic, like Shadiversity, like you know, these expert channels who come out without the intention of being an expert, only to find out that not only are they one of the most educated people in that genre, they're also accepted as experts by actual experts. Because take Shadow Oxhorn. Take Oxhorn. Oxhorn has almost 6 years of Fallout 1, 2, 3, 4, 76 and New Vegas content. He has been doing Fallout longer than most people have been alive, and he has been breaking down every inch of every Fallout map ever. So if you were to ask me, is the developer of that game more expert than Oxhorn, I would say only in the code.
Hey, Chance.
Hello, nostalgic podcast pod blast. You make it difficult for me, don't you? You do that on purpose.
That is a mouthful.
Let me try that again. The nostalgic pod blast.
There we go.
Okay, good enough. But yeah, all of this points to your children having the wrinkles ironed out of their brains.
And you know, people, the grown-ups having the children ain't too much better off of anything to teach them. I mean, because even when you try your best, you fail. I mean, it does. There's just nothing you can do about parenting. You will fail on some level, on some layer. There will be something. Your kid comes back to you and goes, "God, why didn't you tell me that? Oh my God, I had no idea." You know. So, oh well. There you go. But there's definitely going to be new ways that we're going to have to supplement raising the children because of the state of society. There always is.
Welcome in, Kingdom of Vinland. I wasn't ignoring you. My flock, good to see you. Chris R.
Hi, Chris R. Why you want the women to say hi?
Because, women.
Yeah, the boobies aren't talking, dude.
That's part of the reason why I have y'all hidden backstage.
Oh yeah, because I've seen the riots that can break out.
Right? Between you and Ajod, I wouldn't have a chance.
No.
Dude.
Though you do have the best hair of the three of us.
Agreed.
Agreed, no doubt. There's just nothing you can do but agree.
I thank you. My mama thank you too, but she did.
Yeah.
The normal. And this is what forms the foundation of the addictive cycle. The brain's unconscious processes see it simply as a reward mechanism. The use of the thumb and the finger swiping on the screen leads to a dopamine release, so the brain adapts to make itself more efficient at it, and possibly loses other skills over time as a result. This is the source of that mindless scrolling we find ourselves immersed in. And so that's just one way that mobile phone use and the internet changes people's brains. But how does it change people's minds? Well, as we go into another election year in both the UK and the US, as well as a bunch of other countries, people are definitely more divided than ever. In the US, the same moldy candidates and the same black and white issues are dominating the election once again. For some, politics is crystallized into an us v them scenario, where the opposition are completely wrong about everything. For others, the culture war has led to an increasing apathy and detachment from the whole system. It's like millions of people stopped appreciating the nuance and doubled down on whatever belief system they were predisposed to be attracted towards. And people often blame social media for this, based on how it pushes people towards echo chambers. It's something we'll explore further later on, but it might not be one of the only reasons. Reading comprehension is another thing that social media affects. We don't read Twitter or Facebook or really anything else on the screen like we read a book. Instead, we skim read, our eyes darting around to find the relevant information. It's completely different to reading line after line in order, more like hunting than just going through it. It's a process that comes from the mechanical dopamine loop we talked about earlier. Our brains try to get more efficient and maximize the pleasure they get. It means they begin cutting out the boring bits and getting straight to the good stuff always. And if they don't find what they're looking for, they get bored and move on. There's always another thing to read or consume, so wasting more than a few seconds of reading something just isn't worth it anymore. And the result of all of this is that people stop reading things that they don't want to listen to. If something doesn't match up with their preconceptions and their expectations, it doesn't give them that dopamine hit and they go elsewhere. People will see and engage with things that make their beliefs seem right, or things that make the opposition seem stupid and wrong. It doesn't help that the tech companies know all of this as well. They specifically feed people rage bait and comfort agreement on a daily basis to keep them hooked on the dopamine cycle. It ends up creating millions of people who are completely submerged in dogmatic thinking and a strict ideology. It all makes mob mentality that much more likely, to the point that it becomes the norm. It's already been established in discourse that herd thinking is everywhere on the modern internet. Just one piece of information, regardless of whether it's true or false, can set thousands.
Hey, ATL, welcome in, bud. Good to see you. That's ATL Transparency News. Good to see you.
Thousands of people down the warpath, and a lot of it is to do with the lack of consequences. Anonymity is powerful, and it means that people say whatever they want based on an immediate emotional reaction, but a larger part is due to the experience of being caught up in one of these online waves. If you've ever been packed into a large crowd, then you'll know it's a unique experience. You can find yourself getting sucked in by an undercurrent of shared emotions. Each individual moment is chaotic and confusing. Rumors spread like wildfire. Someone might think they overheard something and spread it around, and once it catches on, it can change the crowd's mood almost instantly. What's key though, is how the crowd becomes a single entity, which overshadows the individual people that are a part of it. People become united by those underlying emotions, whether they're happiness and joy or fear and anger. It's a powerful, motivating, and almost tribal experience, which we're doubtlessly predisposed to get caught up in by our social biology. It would be useful.
You are designed to become angry and to enjoy it. You were built from the very beginning to be aggressive and to be angry. In fact, if you weren't, when you got angry, your emotions would basically cause you to have a coronary. So we have this, what was it? They called it the medulla oblongata to limit your ability, or is it the amygdala? Anyway, to limit the effect that your emotions have. It can only go to a certain point and then it cuts it off. And when you're having a panic attack, that's that shit going out of whack.
Yeah, the alligator's so angry because he got all them teeth and no toothbrush.
That's definitely going to be a short.
For a tribe to all feel the same things and amplify their feelings together when they get threatened. It makes them unified and ready for action. What's important about crowds and mobs though is that they're stupid. One rumor or spark can set them off and make people do things they would never do alone. Normal people turn into temporary monsters, so caught up in the
Oh, yeah,
waves of
people
emotions
are
that they
a
do
mess.
unthinkable things.
What's up?
A person is great. Love a person, but people is just a mess.
What's the
George
quote?
Carlin said something like that.
No, Tommy Lee Jones had the best quote ever, and it was from The Fugitive. People are dumb, flighty animals.
Hmm.
Person is intelligent. You can have a conversation with a person. But
Yep.
if you get more than 3 people in a room and you're the only one talking sense, you're doomed.
Hmm.
The room becomes the lowest common denominator, which is the dumbest guy in the room, and there's nothing you can do about that. So when you get 10,000 people together and 12 of them are straight up restarted, yeah, you're going to have some technical
Oh,
issues.
restarted. That's cool. I like that because I'm not supposed to say that other word anymore.
We don't say that other word anymore.
So we try
Social
not
media takes these powerful evolutionary mechanisms and warps them for its own gain. In fact, in social media, the individual gets eliminated pretty much entirely, and everyone becomes part of the crowd, adding to its numbers and consequently adding fuel to whatever fire is burning at that time.
That's right.
That skim reading and hunting for information process we talked about goes haywire. Once whatever cause or inciting incident is vaguely understood, not much else matters. People pick up on the emotional undertones of the situation far more quickly than the specific facts. It means they don't have time to be rational and think things through before they get caught up in the wave. To do that would mean denying that addictive process and undoing years of daily conditioning. Another thing that adds to the process is where the information and discussion on a topic actually comes from. A staggering 90% of the internet is made up of what people call lurkers. People who don't interact at all. They don't post comments or even like or upvote things very often. They just read and absorb. What they're absorbing is left up to the other 10% who went out of their way to comment and add to the discussion. Often they'll naturally be more enthusiastic, more interested, or some of the most enraged people out there. They're definitely the ones who care the most about the topic, otherwise they wouldn't be engaging with it. This vocal minority then dictates what everyone else reads and decides the emotional undertones of the online mob. Of course, they're always generally representative of what people are actually feeling. It's just an amplified version. A good comparison would be a crowd where everyone is getting pulled along by what the most passionate 10% of people in that crowd feel. Everything about the mob mentality is amplified on social media because of this. And it's only going to get more real with the rise of augmented reality and virtual reality. And you can probably see this today with your own social media habits. This might not be the case for everyone, but tons of people immediately scroll down to the comments to see how people feel. It's useful because it tells the hunting part of your brain whether it's worth being interested in. If you see people saying things you agree with and that interest you, then the content itself is probably worthwhile as well. But something that people might not notice is that it takes away the work of deciding how you personally feel and think about something. The legwork has already been done, and you get to tap into that emotional undercurrent of the online crowd almost instantly. The comments act as a replacement for the way you instinctively take in the atmosphere whenever you walk into a room with other people. This is all relatively natural for things that aren't complex issues with no right answer. If someone famous and well-loved dies, then you can instantly understand the emotions that go along with that. It's heartwarming and comforting to know that so many people are feeling the same things that you feel. It adds a sort of comfort that can temporarily placate how lonely social media and modern life can feel. But the problems arise when it's not a simple situation, and instead it's a complicated issue with no real right answers. The kinds of issues you might find in politics, for example.
What's up, Army Vet 420? Good to see you, bud. Play around with your little scrolly feature. You might even find my channel. You never know.
You know,
making their own space in their own.
Do what?
the thing he's saying, maybe it's just because I'm a nonconformist. I mean, yes, you watch a video, you have a certain feeling, you go, oh my God, wonder what the people in the comments are saying. So you go down in the comments, but you find every different situation down there. You'll find everybody saying what you were already thinking you wanted to say, or you'll find everybody saying the opposite of what you wanted to say.
Right.
Or you'll find a good mix, and I don't
know what you're missing?
because I'm not looking to do what people tell me to do, so I'm just looking to see if they're thinking what I'm thinking.
But you're wrong.
You know what I'm saying? But
On
I'm
the
not.
assumption, the foundation of that statement is wrong because YouTube has already chopped off both ends of the window. They blocked people far, far right. They blocked people far, far left. And what you get is like an Overton slice slightly to the left of normal.
There's still plenty of everybody out there. There's not any end that's been chopped off. It's plenty of
So
representation.
you don't believe that YouTube censors the creators?
Oh, there's
Do-
stuff, yeah, because I mean, I've had a couple of comments where they told me, "Then you better watch your mouth," you know.
Sure.
But I know that a lot of stuff is out there from both ends and everything in between.
Do you think it's equally boosted and demonstrated from both ends, or do you
Oh
believe
yeah,
there?
because I end up on the wrong side of everything all the time.
So you
And
think
I'm also subscribed to every different news thing, so I see all the different headlines for the exact same
I was
story.
wondering about that. I wasn't going to ask because it's none of my business, but you're subscribed to all the news channels?
Yeah, I
bet you're
see all the different
tons of fun
headlines for the same
Thanksgiving.
story saying opposite things.
I always put it like this. When it comes to the right and left, they're both watching the same movie, but when you get done, they both tell different stories.
Yeah.
About the movie.
Yeah, have you ever watched those recap channels? You can watch them recap the same movie, two different people, and get totally different stories out of both sides of it. And that's what people need to understand is that the news, even independent news, not just the mainstream one, but they're all adjusting and making their headlines and their thumbnails specific, not necessarily clickbait, but yeah, it's clickbait, because I don't know how many times I've seen just crazy headlines. Oh, that's the end. Oh, they've finally been caught, but nothing changed afterwards. So really, was it really that big a deal you made out of that headline? No, it wasn't. It was one more politician got caught lying. They all get caught lying all the time. What the fuck?
I can't disagree with you there. I find it weird that anytime you have one of these sure enough grassroots movements that elects a politician and everybody's got such great hopes for this guy, he's going to go in and clean everything up, they immediately sign up for the same slow drip feed of bullshit that the rest of the swamp is in.
I have a feeling it's just like that Distinguished Gentleman movie. You get in there and you find out that there's no way to be the good, perfect representative of the people. There's no way to not get caught up in the muck and the mire, because it's everywhere and it's all money, and you'll get no help even if you're doing the perfect right thing, if the money says no, you won't.
Right? If you can't find funding, you can't do anything. That is one of the reasons why I really dislike the fact that they unbanked Alex Jones, because Alex Jones, before all else, is an entertainer, and his impression of the news is quite weird. I don't really believe he's truly influencing anyone with half a brain cell.
Oh, dude, there's now gay frog soap.
Oh, good. I'm so glad, because someone should capitalize on that immediately.
They have been capitalizing on it. It's fucking hilarious.
You're right. Exactly. It is entertaining. If nothing else, he is an entertainer first. And if it entertains you for him to make gay frog soap, then so be it. I'm entertained. Are you not entertained?
Well, he didn't make soap. Some independent. So I watch a bunch of soap makers on YouTube in case, as weird as that fucking is, because I've never made soap, but I find it fascinating.
You ever watch Fight Club?
No, I'm not the Fight Club kid, but my youngest kid punched his own tooth out of his mouth because his big brother and sister watched Fight Club and let him. He punched his own face and knocked his own tooth out. That's a kid right there.
At this moment, I'm going to stop you from talking just in case you injure yourself further.
No, I can't injure myself.
All right, let's move on.
In personal experiences of the world, people fall into the mob's verdicts on the issue. Now imagine this process repeating every day for years on end. And it all becomes clear why people are so divided today. It's getting to a point where society is slowly getting torn apart at the seams as everyone turns on each other. All of these processes don't operate on everyone in the same way though. People get suckered into echo chambers based on what the algorithm sees they like, and they rarely leave them. It gives them the comfort that only ideology can grant, the belief that everything in the world is accounted for, and that there's an answer for everything. But as this happens, their worldview gets closed off and they become unable to deal with things outside of their narrow perspective. It complements the fact that people's attention spans and their ability to think deeply have been decimated by years of social media scrolling. It's much easier for these people to bury their heads in the sand than actually confront something that their ideology and their echo chamber can't deal with. On social media, that rarely happens, of course. People stay within their echo chambers and they only see their own group's perspective. If they come into contact with the other side, it's only through a strawman argument and criticism. It all goes wrong when they go back into the real world and the things they experience aren't being filtered through an ideological mesh. People like this end up either shutting down or they just see other people as caricatures they know from social media. They spout the lines they've seen over and over again, failing to actually engage with the person across from them. It's this late-stage symptom of society's illness that gives rise to the NPC meme. It's only when people are completely submerged in ideology that they reach this point, though that doesn't take long sometimes. It's always seriously damaging society, possibly fatally in the long run, but the people who have orchestrated these changes and built these machines don't really care, for they actively encourage it. The same echo chambers that formed on social media are just a more effective and wide-reaching version of the model that mainstream news has been running for decades. They weren't even built for this purpose. The online echo chambers and algorithms don't exist solely to turn people into NPCs. It's just a happy byproduct for the people running them. Their main goal is just to extract advertising money by keeping people engaged. The rest is just secondary. It's the same principle that the mainstream media has been exploiting for decades now, only far less efficiently. Unlike Twitter or Facebook, they can't personalize the content they show people to maximize engagement, so they go for a catch-all method instead. A few choices of channels only really push two versions of the narrative. They give people an enemy to hate, whilst reporting everything else within their ideological lens. Real issues rarely get solved, because they're not the ones being publicized every day and focused on. They rarely talk to people without a teleprompter, or delve into actual issues at all. People can't talk for more than 30 seconds before they're replaced by the next ideological spokesperson. It was already a growing problem before, but social media's war on attention spans has made them double down to keep people from just looking at their phones instead. It's hard to notice for most people. Either it's all they've ever known, or they're just too indoctrinated to tell. But watching newer online journalists without any of this baggage really does show the modern news cycle for what it is. It's simple, really. When you look at anyone online, any of these travel people, you actually learn so much more about the world and have a much deeper understanding of complicated issues than just watching these little highly edited snippets. Nowadays, while social media might slowly be eating the mainstream news networks, they're working hand in hand on keeping the culture war going. If people are divided and constantly paranoid at the other side, then it leaves the people with real power free to do what they want. The fewer free thinkers there are, the easier it is for politicians and billionaires to keep the status quo. They can keep drawing people into never-ending ideological arguments, and they can keep people drunk on endless entertainment. It means people are too distracted to see the real issues. We keep getting new information on how far the offshore tax havens really go, and just how much of our wealth is being hoarded and wasted in vaults. But even when it's right there, nobody pays attention. It's not an ideological issue, and it would actively hurt the people in power if it was talked about more. So the algorithms don't promote it, and the news does the bare minimum in covering it. And there's so many other issues, like the certain client list, that can never be spoken about by anyone, because it's all about money and nothing else. It's why the establishment has been desperately trying to cancel Joe Rogan for years, despite the fact that he's pretty much a normal dude when it comes to his views. He actually talks to people and lets them add nuance and understanding to the world, something which goes against everything they're trying to uphold.
That's actually a critical statement. The idea that Joe Rogan is a normal dude is kind of weird because he's slightly left of center as well. He's got some really weird.
I don't know how you figure he's left of center. He's right of center.
Well, we can sit here and discuss the Overton window all day and we won't gain any ground on any of it. This is one of those cases of us looking at a person and see the same person and seeing two different TV shows, if you will.
But I watch him every time. I love it. I love his show. I don't care what kind of dumb fuckery he's got himself into. I love the way that whether he believes it or not, he's doing an actual fucking interview rather than the bullshit that the rest of them are doing.
Most of them walk in and they immediately start fawning in the direction of whatever the interviewee is with, or they try to get a "I got you" moment on them, and that drives me crazy.
Or it's just about advertising their new project,
right? Which I don't have so much of an issue with that. That's one reason to do those types of interviews, to take that risk, because let me tell you, speaking publicly has very few upsides, tons of downsides.
Oh yeah.
So the fact that Joe Rogan has been able to feng swangle a conversation into a multi-million-dollar industry is absolutely amazing to me.
I'm I like him. I I didn't even know he was a fucking comedian. I just thought he was some Fear Factor guy. I didn't. And then the fighting stuff. I didn't know that he was a fucking comedian until he had this show.
So in one, I think it was one of the Halo games, or it might have been like a portal gun type. What was it? Anyway, there is a gun in one of the first person shooter space tactical games that is called the rotator rifle, cyclic rifle, something like that. But this thing shoots, basically, once you've got it upgraded, it shoots a miniature black hole that just absorbs all of the matter it comes into contact with when you fire it. And it cycles up with this wheel where it spins the projectile and then spins the projectile this way, causing it to launch at like barely sublight speeds. It's
Joe Rogan was a wrestler.
Yeah. Well, so he was an MMA fighter.
That's that part I knew, but that's not being a wrestler.
He did a lot of like not refereeing, but like announcing for wrestlers.
Yeah. I mean, I called him on there. I heard Bender and him. I was like, I know both those voices.
Right. Okay.
I like watching those boys hug each other. It's sweet.
I bet you do. It's real sweet how much they love each other, right?
Well, I mean, they just stand in the middle. They wrap their arms around each other. They just rock back and forth. It's like a junior high dance.
His popularity and the popularity of other people like him is the light at the end of the tunnel. There's still millions of people that are desperate for long, in-depth discussion on the issues that actually affect them. The appetite for that never went away. What's key is that people try as hard as they can to keep their critical faculties alive despite the constant onslaught. But as long as there are still people trying to do that, the world hopefully won't just be completely populated by NPCs.
I think it was called the cycle rifle. Or I can't remember. It's wild though. It's wild. And I really like it. It was only something you got after you finished the game and you could like go back and play through it with unlimited cycle rifle rounds. It's basically a rail gun without the rail, without all the mucky muck about trying to have a rail gun. There's no
that offended comment. That offended comment. Nobody has the right to be offended. Being offended is totally on you. And that's totally a line in the sand that everyone draws for themselves. And you can't ever know by looking at someone where their lines are. So being offended, it's almost like a crime, but it's not.
It's not a crime. There is nothing similar to a crime. I will make you a deal. I will make you a deal, Snark. The very day you can show me on this doll where the bad words hurt you, we can talk about amending the First Amendment.
Exactly.
But we're still not going to do it. We'll just talk about it.
Yeah. I get. Yeah, I pay on a what's it called? Disturbing the peace because of my mouth every day, every month. I pay on that shit.
Right.
And it's bullshit because the cops were the ones that were the victim. Bullshit assholes.
I know you've seen We the People University.
Mm-hmm.
You like his channel?
Yeah, it's all right. He's usually like 3 months late on every story. I already seen 12 versions of it.
But you're in the YouTube sphere, so you see it when it happens or a day or two after, and it might take him 2 or 3 months to get to that email, you know.
Yeah, I do still, stay subscribed, and I do click like every 5th video, or if something doesn't look familiar from his title, I do click and watch. But he's one of them that, bless his heart, I hope people are watching. I know they are.
Yeah, but he's got 530,000 freaking subscribers. So
I didn't know how many he had. I was like wondering. I don't even know anymore. I forget to check.
I don't generally check unless I'm looking for someone to interview.
Speaking of which, so the ones that I've sent you just don't like. Is that it?
It takes a little while to get in to figure out how to present things. It doesn't always immediately jump to mind. I have to look at their content and be like, okay, and kind of understand, think I understand where it's coming from.
Okie doke.
I mean, I don't know how to explain it. Sometimes I just don't feel like fucking with it, to be quite honest.
Absolutely. I was just fucking with you. It's all right.
And it might be a couple of weeks in a row that I'm just like, I'm going to the Waffle House.
I send you everything that's good Waffle House that I find, though.
Yeah, I'll watch them. All right, so he found a particular case where cops went to the wrong address. Do you think, A, that the cops showed up and helped everyone there and then went home? B,
sure.
the cops showed up and found a horrible crime taking place and dealt with it? Or C, the cops showed up and invented some shit to arrest everyone in the house for?
Ding, ding, ding. It's C. It's C. I know it's C.
A clue. Okay. A Kalishnikov? Why? Wait, what? Oh no. Hold on. That's an excellent movie, though, even if it is Russian.
Even put that badge on with honor and pride, dude, and still come up and disrespect people's rights by making them give their ID or trying to force them to give their ID. That is absolutely ridiculous, man. You're an officer of the law.
All I'm going to say is that if you would have given me the 2 minutes to tell you why
I don't have to give you the 2 minutes, and I don't have to tell you, man.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
So you can go put that on YouTube.
I know I
can
go. I'm not going to put it on YouTube. I'm going to send it to your boss because you're a clown.
Go for it.
Okay.
If I really,
Officer Norris is a clown.
If I really wanted to make an issue out of this, I could have. So if you want,
I know you would. I know you would. But
go get in the car.
Welcome back to We the People University. My name is Abaya Israel, former police officer and former sheriff's deputy. Today's video is brought to you.
That is one good feature about this channel. It's not always exactly even-handed, but he is former these things, right?
Yeah, I like to hear from the cops that were cops or are cops, like that Detective Matt guy. He's our our magical unicorn. He's the only one that I see that's still on duty.
YouTube Police is an actual police officer. Yeah, like full on legitimate and full on supports First Amendment, Second Amendment activity. He's a very reasonable guy.
What'd you call it? YouTube Police?
YouTube Police. It's freaking hilarious. He gets bombed out of all the auditor channels, but he tries to support auditors. It's absolutely hilarious. Because here's his opinion. If you're proud of what you're doing, you will welcome cameras to show you doing it. If you're not, well, this happens.
The YouTube channel, National Civil Rights Alliance. This is a new channel doing great work. So we're asking that you go over, subscribe, and support. Today, we're going to take a look at the Highlands, Florida Sheriff's Office. And before we say anything, I just want to jump right in and we'll give our thoughts later.
Got stopped by the police, sitting here on break just now. He's trying to ask me for my ID before he even asked me for paperwork to see what I was doing, saying there's suspicion of nothing. There's no crime being committed or suspected of being committed. And here I am, this guy is basically telling me I have to give him my ID. He's telling me that what if you pull out a gun on me? How am I supposed to know who you are? What's your name and badge number, sir?
Deputy Knight. You can get my badge number from my sergeant if you need to.
Ain't it funny how them getting your ID will somehow solve some fucking crimes or tell them if you just commit. Here, my ID says that I just committed a crime. Here, why don't you find that out?
What they want to do is put you in the system and verify that you are on probation some freaking where. Because most people, there's some states where 20-30% of the people walking the street are on probation. And if a cop walks up to a person on probation and says, "Hey, I need your ID," that guy has no choice but to hand him the ID.
Yeah.
He has had his Fourth Amendment rights abbreviated by the terms of his probation. So most of the time when these cops find somebody out there doing some sketchy shit, even if it's not illegal, it's sketchy, the person has to give them ID because they're on probation. And so they run them, they find out they're on probation, they cite them for whatever they can, and then get some more money out of them in the court.
Yep. Yeah, because that's all it is. It's just about making sure everybody's tracked, everybody's paying. I'm like, Well, I'd like to see you motherfuckers pay that police chief $150,000 a year without all these fines. And they won't tell you what all that fine money's going to either. They run you around hard on it.
There's no transparency within the police department. My local police department has a full-on anti-tank vehicle.
My God.
It has a Buffalo. If you were playing GTA, it's called a Buffalo. It has,
and you live in a swamp, just like me. Who the fuck needs all that shit in the swamp?
What's up, crazy hillbilly? Welcome in, bud. We were just talking about how my crazy hillbilly sheriff's department has a full-on anti-mine, anti-IED vehicle. And I would really like to drive it, quite frankly. What are they called? Bearcats or something like that? I can't remember. But the fact that they have one is absolutely absurd. I kind of feel like during that 9/11 period, when all that 9/11 money come rolling in, they had to spend it or give it back. And so they just bought the damn thing because they could.
Yeah.
What upsets me is they don't even break it out for the parades.
No way.
Hey, dude, that would be a perfect point to be able to just gear everybody up in SWAT. I mean, a bunch of kids up in SWAT gear and walk them around out there giving out candy. That'd be awesome.
Then again, it'd be reminding everybody how much money they spent on a big Bearcat tank thing that they don't need.
That's true, but it's still though.
Yeah.
It's a parade. If you're going to get away with that
shit, showmanship, people.
Right? You get a bunch of people out there with some flower paint, and y'all get out there with some food color and flower paint, and y'all paint the damn thing up, whatever you want to paint it. But, you know, it's a parade. It's the one time you can get away with extravagance on the street corner and nobody will say a word. You know, you're like, cool, we saw a tank killer. How about that? MRAP, right? That's exactly the police version of the MRAP. I guess, wait, no, the MRAP is the police version. That's right.
All right. Got me. Right. I'm a hippie. I don't know no shit about whoa.
I played a lot of World of War tanks.
Oh yeah, I didn't. I killed a bunch of dragons.
I've also killed dragons, but I've killed a lot of tanks.
I haven't committed a crime. Absolutely ridiculous. The police continuing to trample on civilians' rights. When there's no reasonable, articulable suspicion that a crime has been committed. Didn't even ask me for nothing. Just asked me, let me get your ID. Doesn't work like that. This is the United States, state of Florida. Questioning the passenger in my vehicle, forcing him to give his ID because he doesn't know any better.
What force is there? What force how did I force him to give me his ID?
He doesn't have to give you his ID.
But you just said I forced him. How did I force him?
Bro, you're steady at him. You're making him a queeze to your authority.
A queeze, bless his heart. He wasn't even reading it. I could see you doing that if you're reading it, but he must have read it somewhere and never heard it. Oh, but he tried to use a good word. I'm proud of him.
Acquiesce.
I know. I
got you. Bo, I feel your pain. I'm
the psycho in the comment section that's telling the people that I care about when they've got a misspelled word or something in their title, but they usually say thank you.
Actually, there's a YouTube reason for misspelling things in titles.
It causes people to comment.
It forces people in their lizard brain to go in and try to fix it.
Lizard. Wasn't it that Taco Bell dog used to say something about a lizard?
Lizard. I don't know. That just brought back memories of a nightmare I used to have as a kid.
You was thinking about Taco Bell.
got big lawyers too, and they're gonna call and they're gonna send in the complaint. Bro, I try to be nice and tell you what my rights are, and you steady want to try. I know you don't care. That's why you're gonna go on break for a little while, my friend. If you only knew who I was, you wouldn't be doing this shit.
Oh,
But we're gonna
God.
South Florida. It's enough. Enough is enough. Learn your rights, dude. Don't be like this, dude. Learn your rights. Look at me like a civilian. I'm in a Durango, whatever. You don't know who I am. I'm telling you that. Learn your rights. You put on that badge. You made an oath to that Constitution. You have an obligation and a duty to abide by it.
This is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna go inside to see if they want to trespass you guys. If they want to trespass you, we're gonna trespass you. And at
All
that
right.
point,
So this
we'll
is
have
this
to
is
try
what
to-
this is a problem a lot of cops have.
Mhm.
In order to be trespassed, you have to refuse to leave. If
Mhm.
you are detaining a person outside and you go get a trespass, you are preventing them from leaving. If this individual had left when he attempted to leave in the first place, the concept of trespass completely goes out of the window. That's a non-crime that never happened. It is invented by the detention.
Mm-hmm. It's soliciting a trespass. They can't just go around, hey, go say this guy stole something. No, fucking shit. Just deal. I fucking hate the police. Fucking hate them bastards.
My experience is they go in and ask whether or not this dude outside's bothering them. The thing about that is 85% of gas stations have a Jay and Silent Bob type character that's always outside and always bothering the employees. It just bothers them that they're there. And so when some random cop walks in and goes, hey, is this guy bothering you? Their natural response is to go, yeah, that asshole's been selling dope on the corner for the past 2 months. You just now found him?
Yeah. As a former convenience store clerk in several states,
but they're
I'll
talking
tell
about
you.
2 different people. That's the thing, is like he just talked about somebody who came in and spent money. She's talking about the random asshole who stands just out of sight of the camera over there.
Mm-hmm. Never,
So-
just never. Just always say no. Don't
Right.
let them look at your nothing. Fucking motherfuckers. Let them figure their way out of a paper bag. Detective my ass.
So I think we all know at this point what trespass really is. It's not a big secret anymore, except to police departments and obviously sheriff's offices, because this guy's saying that he will have the right to ID once they get him trespassed. But the owner hasn't requested for this guy to leave. So anyway, let's just keep watching.
Trespass me for what?
for selling the stuff on private property.
What are you talking about?
So you hang tight.
Nobody saw us selling stuff. You pulled up. I was in my vehicle.
We got a complaint out here.
From who?
Well, if I would have.
From who? Who was the complaint from?
Hold on.
That cop is lying through his teeth. He just saw somebody and decided to
Lie,
lie.
baby, lie, baby, lie.
Oh, wow.
Pinocchio motherfucker.
Who was the complaint from?
I don't have to give you that information. If you want to, you can do a public records request to get that information. We got a call out here because they said you guys were out here selling stuff.
Did you see me selling anything?
Are you going to let me talk?
No.
No.
Did you see me selling anything? Then you have no right to ask these people to trespass. You didn't see me committing a crime or doing anything. What you're doing is illegal. I'm going to teach you your rights through paperwork.
Teach him.
Teach you. I'm going to teach you today.
I'm going to teach him today. We're going to teach this man the rights. We're going to start with the First Amendment and work our way up to the Fourth Amendment, where this individual pig is no longer permitted to look at your papers and effects.
Ramen.
That's fine.
So chill out. All this takes is like 3 minutes and you guys can be on.
Bro, it doesn't work like that, homie. It doesn't work like that. But I'm going to teach you how it works.
And here's how the Florida statute for disorderly conduct works. All right. 877.03, breach of peace or disorderly conduct. And oftentimes, or many times, referred to as POP. So don't get arrested for POP. What does it stand for? Pissing off the police is what they called it in my former department.
I've always heard it called
Contempt of cop.
Yeah. Contempt of cop. You pissed him off and that's it. That's all there is to it.
Yep.
So because of the concept of qualified immunity, a cop can perform virtually any action and is protected by qualified immunity if he says, well, I thought it was the course of my duties. I thought I was doing right. So bad training becomes a fair use excuse for any cop that screws up. They can just say, well, I wasn't trained on that.
Liars.
But they're not. These people go to a 6-week academy.
You go longer to get to do hair. I know, because I did.
Right? That's facts. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
And you also have to deal with the public less, which is weird.
And you can't hardly really ruin anyone's life because hair grows back.
Well, I don't know, man. My sister had a really bad perm in high school, and it looked like some alien had come in and attacked her skull and wouldn't let go.
Don't go to the beauty college. Go to an actual salon.
Right. What happened? I don't remember, but it was during the Molly Ringwald period, and she wanted them big curls, and it didn't do right. She got the curls.
Yeah.
Boy, did she get the curls.
Yeah, we didn't have the products back then to make it all work out okay.
Yeah, because she always struck me as a fairly intelligent girl, but that particular year she lost her mind and put a weird on her skull. It was weird.
The Florida statute states, whoever commits such acts as are of a nature to corrupt public morals or outrage the sense of public decency or affect the peace and quiet of persons who may witness them. The them is very key here. Or engages in brawling or fighting or engages in such conduct as to constitute a breach of the peace or disorderly conduct shall be guilty of a misdemeanor of the 2nd degree. So here's what this deputy is attempting to do. He's attempting to silence the cameraman like all cops.
Did they just use disorderly conduct as a definition for disorderly conduct?
Basically.
That's not clear.
It's crystal clear.
Oh.
I'll see the problem. I mean, they're currently using woman in the definition of woman.
Yeah. Well, look, man, they got 2 paragraphs here on disorderly conduct, but they only read the first paragraph. And that's how they get everybody, because they only go by the first paragraph. When they get to the second paragraph, it lets almost everybody off the hook.
Right. Sorry, I'm trying to get our co-host back in here, and I don't know how effective it's going to be. You know how children are. Well, she has one.
Some people's children.
Right? She has one, and so that's how they are.
Always attempt to do. But he's using this particular law where it says to corrupt the public morals or outrage the sense of public decency, because the law continues to state or affect the peace and quiet of persons who may witness them. He would have to be, the cameraman would have to be doing one of these things, and someone would have to witness him doing one of these things, and it affects their peace and quiet. None of these things are happening. It's subjective. One person may say, hey, he's disturbing my peace and quiet. Another may say he's not. Either way, no one has said anything. And the deputy cannot state that this is disorderly conduct because the man is speaking loudly. There is no victim. There is no complainant. He has to find someone who's going to say that, hey, this is causing my peace to be disturbed.
And furthermore, the cop cannot be the source of that complaint. It is technically illegal for them to walk in and request one. What is up, Ricky?
Solicitation. Here, it hasn't been proved thoroughly in court yet that the cop can't be a complainant.
Okay, well, I'm pretty sure that was out the window here, pretty much back during the Klan days.
No, well, you're here. It's not. they obviously they still think that they can just be the complainant. Yeah.
That's
Look,
stark
they only
raving.
look at that first paragraph and all that. So
You gonna carry that anywhere near an appeal, or did you plead guilty to something?
I had
So-
to. There ain't no appeal. There
Okay.
ain't nothing else except to just keep paying them their money and chalking the sidewalk every Tuesday because that's court day.
This format lets you use your phone, and since you're not actually going to be on panel, you could be laying in your bed with a pack of ice on you, if that's where you want to be. I'm in about 10 minutes. I'm going to end this phase of all this and go into the next bit, which is a little different. But yeah, previous guest, you know how it works. It's up to you, bud.
But if you look down towards the bottom, it states, or engages in such conduct as to constitute a breach of the peace. He is not engaged in any of these things that this law states. So therefore, he cannot disturb anyone's peace and quiet, and he cannot be charged for.
In this case, the only time he started doing anything that remotely breached the peace in any legal framework was after the cop had already pissed him off by being a dumbass.
Disorderly conduct because he's not outraging any sense of decency anywhere.
This is called soliciting a trespass. This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's textbook. Cop's pissed off. He can't be the complainant, so he goes
Now
in
he's
and
going
tries
in
to
there trying
find
to get us a
somebody.
trespass on something that he heard. He didn't see us do nothing, something that he heard. And won't even divulge the information to us about his suspicion or what he heard. These are our officers. These are the people we work hard for and give our tax dollars to, who are trampling on our rights. Hopefully this guy, he looks like a young player. He looks like he's just getting into the game. Hopefully you learn something from this interaction. He doesn't understand what's going to happen to him. I'm going to show you through him. This is not how this goes. Somebody must commit a crime, or you must have a reason to believe that person committed a crime to even ask for an ID. It's an illegal stop. Hey, you're 15, 20 minutes of free time at home at night. Study what you do. Study the law. What you do, the type of interactions you have.
Yeah, it's quiet. That's because the cop's too far away to really be picked up on the camera. Is it too quiet?
So, okay, apparently, I guess the call came from that gas station, not this gas station. So,
Monkey fucking didn't even have the right gas station.
So you're completely incompetent, is what you're saying.
Oh my gosh. They are. When I heard that that court upheld that the police can use a cap on IQ to in their hiring practices, when the court said, yes, you're allowed to only hire the dumb ones, that's not what do you call that when you're being discriminatory? That's not discriminatory to only hire the dumb ones. I thought at first it had to be a joke, but now I know it's the goddamn truth.
On a poll about whether or not we trust Florida man, it apparently we don't trust Florida man.
I voted no. I voted no.
I'm afraid I'm gonna have to replay this song so that y'all understand what you're actually voting for. I don't think y'all get it.
I didn't.
Listen,
I didn't know why we were wondering about Florida man.
if there's going to be an invasion and it comes through Florida, it's got to deal with like some freaking fentanyl and flocka infested swamps, man. Like
Yeah.
they'll never make it. There's no chance they don't come up in Florida and get addicted to something. They're gonna hit Miami. They're gonna hit Miami and just get lost in the nightclubs. There's no chance that an all-male army of any major description is coming through Florida and doesn't get seduced by the power of Florida.
Oh yeah, the jiggly booties and stuff.
In 6 months, these guys will have tramp stamps and beach bods.
The only people that would be attacking through Florida would be Cuba, though.
But they could use Cuba as a waylay point, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I feel safer knowing that Florida is down there, although I feel unsafe knowing that every single hurricane drives a handful of crazy bastards into southern Georgia. And they don't leave.
We got a lot of hurricane refugees here too.
Right? See, that's what I'm saying. You know what I'm talking about, man. Like when Andrew come through, man, the entire demographic in our local town changed because we had about 15,000 refugees show up and just buy houses. They just moved in like they've lived here their whole life, and it was kind of odd with like 600 extra kids in school. What?
I bet it took a minute for everybody to get used to that.
Yeah,
I ended up getting to meet somebody who used to be neighbors with Shelby, the swamp man.
Have a look at Sasquatch Secrets. Welcome in, hon. Good to see you. Appreciate you coming by. Hit that like button. Comment, subscribe.
I bet Sasquatch has got lots of secrets. I know Sasquatch does.
Sasquatch. Dude. I was sitting in the chair with my wife and I saw that and I punched it and showed it to my wife and she said, "What?" I said, "I know that person." She said, "Who is it?" I said, "No fucking clue." I know her. She's like, "And it's a her." I was like, "Oh yeah. It's a her. I know that." But I can't quite. What's up, Al SoCal? Welcome in, bud.
I went with mid-size because, Sasquatches do tend to be a lot taller than 5'7.5".
Right. I think that would be small.
Yeah,
okay. What's up, Mushroom Manny? Welcome in, bud. Good to see you.
I thought it sounded cool. It was kind of bringing cars into it also.
It's good. I liked it. I really liked it. And the fact that it triggered me the way it did was even funnier.
I was hoping that you wouldn't know it was me, and so I pretended to not be me for a while, coming here a couple times, just waiting. I could see you reacting, but I was like, "I want to know this."
I'm like, that language is inappropriate in a very specific way.
Yeah, I was acting a fool in the comments too. That's suspicious.
The call came from the other gas station, not this gas station. So they said that as of right now that you have not peddled or done anything to their customers. They said as long as you guys
Nor
are
did
doing,
you see us committing a crime, and you were asking for my ID illegally.
Are you going to?
Correct?
Are you going to let me talk?
No.
Why?
No.
You realize that
what's coming out of your mouth is really trash, man.
Okay, so
really trash.
It's trash.
I can't believe you would even put that badge on with honor and pride, dude, and still come up and disrespect people's rights by making them give their ID.
We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. What should the cop do right now?
Wow.
3 options. Right.
Now this guy is a little obnoxious with the whole "you don't know who I am" thing, but the thing is even if he is just a citizen, he should be getting treated better, and that is really the point. Who cares who you are specifically? You are a citizen and shouldn't be getting harassed by the piece of crap police.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and somebody in the chat said they really didn't like the First Amendment auditors, but you may not like somebody's particular style and the way that they handle it, but it takes all of those different kinds to be able to,
Don't be that person, Sass. You're better than that. You know you're better than that. Don't bite. Don't bite.
Bite what?
Them little breadcrumbs that he was laying out there waiting for one of us to try to rebuff him. I'm going to do it in the after dark. After all of this is done and we don't have to worry about our languages, we'll cover that. Because I do have a distinction between auditors and frauditors. A lot of people want to lump them all in the same basket, but they're not. auditors can become frauditors. It is
Sure.
almost unheard of for frauditors to become auditors.
Right.
Right.
I mean, I
there's some-
guess.
oh, I know what it is. Get donuts.
Ooh.
I bought some donuts the other day, and my daughters both came over, and they brought some friends over with them. And I walked into the house, set the donuts down, went to the bathroom, came back out. Them bitches was gone, dude. A baker's dozen, gone, gone. All right.
I had a donut the other day.
There we go. Okay, so now there is a poll, and I'm asking, what should the cop do in this very minute, right? Right now, he has an opportunity. He can either, right, be like, my bad, dude, it was the other gas station. You have an excellent day, and, you know, walk away, get in his cruiser, cruise off, and go deal with some real shit. Or he can get pissy with this guy and attempt to arrest him on some other trumped up bullshit like he was fixing to do in the first place. Or C, he'd go get some donuts and shut up.
What's he gonna do? What should he do? Now, which of those things are we guessing?
What should he do? The question in the chat, if I remember right, is what should he do?
Well, he should say, dude, sorry, you're not the people I thought you were. Bye.
Right? Excuse me. I did not mean to do that.
What did he do? Went and got some donuts after he arrested that guy on trumped up charges.
Beat him up in the back of the car and then tased him twice.
Stuck a donut in his pocket, said he stole it.
All right, little rubber band.
The rubber band!
Dude, I was crying. I was crying. When I heard you yell that to that dude, I fell over and be like, she's going to jail.
Yeah, I did too.
I think I covered it like 2 hours later. I think it was live on 5 channels within 45 minutes.
Yeah, they were real mad that the bail money was sitting there. They made me sit there for like 4 extra hours because the bail money came within 3.
Has everybody had a chance to vote yet? We haven't, have we? I can only put it up in my chat. I can't put it up in everybody else's chat. So if you want to vote in the thing, which I'm going to start out here in about 40 seconds, we're going to see what he does. But everybody seems to believe he should get donuts.
He really should. Then he wouldn't be so hangry.
Is that what it is? He didn't get his donut?
Yeah, they're just hangry all the time, hopped up on sugar and steroids and meth.
They got to go home and kick their dog and whoop on the wife a little bit.
No, they whoop their wife. They kick their wife and fuck their dog. I don't know.
Oh wow! Come on, that's the all right. We're gonna start this up now.
Yeah, it's bad.
That is absolutely ridiculous, man. You're an officer of the law.
All I'm going to say is that if you would have given me the 2 minutes to tell you why
I don't have to give you the 2 minutes, and I don't have to tell you shit, man.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
So you can go put that on YouTube.
I know I can go. I'm not going to put it on YouTube. I'm going to send it to your boss because you're a clown.
Go for it.
Okay.
If I really,
Officer Norris is a clown.
If I really wanted to make an issue out of this, I could have. So if you
I
want,
know
go
you
ahead and
would.
get
I know.
And so we have to make a threat.
A bigger issue with the fucking lawyers. Trust me.
See that?
That's how cowards act. Bullies and cowards.
He's trying to convince him that he's letting him go. In that cop's mind, he is letting this guy go. He hasn't erroneously detained him. He has detained him legally and is just letting this guy go. Right?
It's disgusting. Talk about cognitive dissonance.
It's that level of cop-splaining you can only get to after you've done it for like 90,000 hours.
I don't know. I think it's part of what they train for.
They are trained to be a dick.
They train to wear their sunglasses so nobody can see their eyes. They train to lie no matter what. Never say you're sorry that you did anything wrong. Take everyone to jail no matter what. It's ridiculous.
Remember what I said earlier about how when they show up, they immediately want to run you through the system because a significant portion of the population is on papers, and once you're on paper, they know everything about you. They can just search your car, they can pat you down, they can do all that shit. That's why they want to run your ID, because if you're on paper, you can't even complain that they did this. But if you're not on paper, you could be a real serious thorn in their side.
Mhm.
And so what they have to do is anytime they come across somebody who's not on paper, they
Mhm.
immediately make up a crime so that they're covered by qualified immunity. And then they enter into this lawfare concept against the citizenry to generate revenue for the city so that they can justify not only their current pay, but raises in the future. Dear God, I hope y'all got that.
Yeah, no doubt. And that the reason crime rates are higher is because cops are arresting people for non-crimes but charging them with crimes. That makes the crime rate look worse and makes it look like you should spend more money on crimes.
I hadn't
Bullshit.
thought of that, but I bet you're absolutely fucking right.
I am
I-
absolutely fucking
I
right.
bet you're absolutely right on that. I'll look into it, but I think that checks out in my head with very little thought.
Yeah, I saw a video with a cop. They had gotten rid of their whole department, their whole cop department for the city. So the county had to take over, and their crime rate dropped immensely.
Right. All right. So anyway, we're getting into fuzzy weeds, and it might be hard to backpedal out of a corner I was fixing to walk myself into. I'll
Pretty
pass.
sure fuzzy weeds are the best weeds.
So you can get
Neither
involved.
do you, homie. Neither do you.
Not trying
Hey,
to.
be good, man. Learn the law, dude. And I didn't start out with the disrespect.
now.
You did.
By asking your ID.
Motherfucking right.
Okay, you can leave.
Motherfucking right.
So after harassing these guys, come to find out, he did not have a call. He's in the wrong place. So he's forced the passenger to ID, threatened to arrest the driver, attempted to get him trespass from a gas station, all just to find out he's in the wrong place. How often have we seen police officers show up to the wrong home, open fire, arrest the wrong person? I don't know. When I was working as a cop, we had the address.
All right. So what should he do? Get donuts, leave immediately, arrest the guy in that order with a 75-25 split between get donuts and leave immediately. I think he should have gotten the donuts, the powdered kind.
And we had a GPS if you didn't know where you're going. I don't know how police officers, as I'm looking at these videos, continue to show up to the wrong place, continue to arrest the wrong people, and oftentimes hurt or even kill people unlawfully. But this is becoming the norm. You would think the more technology we get as the days go on, the less.
Sorry,
but it's
that was backwards.
It's
I was supposed to be muting
Make
myself.
sure you guys know your rights and always record the police. This is what we're living with. This is what we're dealing with. That being said, We the People University, signing off.
Always record police interactions, even if they're not yours. You could save a life.
Right. And I do have, now I'm not an auditor. I am not attempting to be an auditor. I support auditors, First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, hands down.
I am not an auditor either.
I am not the type of person capable of walking out in the street and having a conscious conversation with a cop because my tongue is edged on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
It's sharp running both ways. Even complimentary things often sound like I'm bitching you out. And I have a very strange sense of propriety and humor. And it comes out when I'm nervous, really heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So there's two ways it goes when I talk to a cop. Either they get to that point where they're laughing and blowing snot bubbles, or they don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's a real either or with the cop whenever you try to use humor to deal with the nervous interaction. Yeah. I've had them that just wouldn't crack a smile. I've told them, hey, lower your glasses so I can at least see your eyes smile. Yeah, and plus I've got the PTSD bullshit on top of being a weirdo with a mouth, and I've got videos that I can't even put up on my activism channel because I don't, I'm not trying to fuck with anybody. And now they're all set and ready to go. If them motherfuckers kill me, they're gonna go up. But because I end up cussing them out, telling them to suck, what's and what not.
Right. And so moving on, if you're familiar with John Eagle,
Yeah.
yeah, homie's moving up in the world, right? Got him 66,300 subscribers. How you like them apples?
I did not realize he had that many subscribers.
No, dude, let me tell you, when I first started talking to John Eagle, he had like 19 subscribers and was one of those comment guys that you found supporting the right people, if you catch my drift. Not the assholes and the grifters, but the real auditors on YouTube. And we had, I don't know, a couple of like in comment conversations. And the next thing I know, he puts up like 2 videos, and then there's 4 videos. And the next thing I know, he's got 10,000 subscribers and he's rolling hard, son. Rolling hard. I'm like, yeah. Because, I'm a firm believer in finding people who say things that I think better than I can say it. He does that.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah. I like his channel is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This one is specifically about a Scott Lewis PI. PL? PI.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, I'll let him explain it.
Welcome back. Today's video is an undercover investigation from Scott Lewis when he worked for News Channel 7 in Detroit, Michigan, when he exposes one of the laziest judges I've ever seen. She comes when she wants, leaves when she wants, makes all the people who are going to be in front of her wait for hours and hours, and he exposes her in epic fashion. And I will be pausing for comments, but stick around because there's an insane twist at the end and you don't want to miss it. Let's check this one out.
She's scheduled to put in an 8-hour day like most of us, but while we were watching with her undercover camera, a typical work day was 5 hours. On top of that,
that's a judge. If the judge doesn't show up, your lawyer sits there doing nothing and being paid.
Mm-hmm.
They show up at 9 a.m. They're supposed to be there at 9 a.m. They get there at 9 a.m. They're sitting there, and if it's noon before you get in there, you're paid. You're on the hook for that paycheck.
I mean, talk about not understanding the full impact of your job.
No, she understands.
You
this
do
is
job
fair.
for.
She fully understands what she's doing to people. This is yet another layer of the oppression that is taking place under our current justice system. Because you didn't have the money to pay your bond or whatever, now you've got to come in and face the judge, right? Mm-hmm. But the judge doesn't show up until noon, and you sit in there waiting with your lawyer till 3 p.m, and then she's like, well, I'm leaving, and you have to wait till the next day, and your lawyer has to show up again. And so you end up having to pay for all of this. And it either comes out of public funding for public defenders, or which is trash, especially in small towns. Small towns, public defenders quite often like the cousin of the sheriff or the uncle of the freaking undersecretary. You know what I'm saying? Like, It's wild.
This Wayne County juvenile court judge is keeping lots of people waiting, wasting their time and putting justice on hold. It's a Thursday morning and Judge Sheila Gibson is pulling out of her subdivision heading into work. The 7 Action News investigators are right on her tail. Why? Subdivision heading into hours. On top of that, this Wayne County juvenile court judge is keeping lots of people waiting, wasting their time and putting justice on hold. It's a Thursday morning and Judge Sheila Gibson is pulling.
There we go. That's the pause screen I wanted up there. So
if this story is a couple 4 years old, I've seen about her. But if it's another one, well, looky there, it's another one.
It is an older story, and he covers that fact a little later in the video. But I'm just pointing out the fact that home chick's up there with some pearls.
Mm-hmm.
Some big old hoop earrings and some go fuck yourself glasses. She done had her hair did and a freshly pressed robe. She already
And
looks
if a,
pissed. Like,
and if it was a man judge who was wearing rings and fuck yourself glasses,
I would be just
I've been getting a little irritated lately at the way some of these titles go: woman cop, lady cop, women this, women that, and then the line of things that get critiqued isn't the same as if it was a guy one, you know.
Did you hear about the chick cop who got arrested for stealing shoes?
Yeah, that was crazy. But
That's
see, the
wild.
fact that she's a chick chopper, or I mean, a chick cop or a man cop, you know.
Dude, that was just some straight ghetto gangsta shit. She pulled up in her cruiser, got out, walked into the store, picked up the shoes, made sure they fit, and then walked out. Got in her cruiser
Was
and
she
was going
wearing
back out.
cruiser like her? She was wearing her cop uniform and
It was like 1:30 in the afternoon. She was on duty and in mid patrol.
Wow.
Which implies to me that this is not the first time she's done stuff like this, because there was a cop on scene damn near immediately to be able to document that it happened. You ain't just get in.
And the cops just feel like they can do shit like that.
I guarantee it. That is what it appears to me. Now, there are two types of businesses in a small town. You have the larger corporate businesses that really don't participate in small town bullshit except for as a budget. And you have the local small town businesses who are all kind of beholden to the small town way of life. Right.
Mm-hmm.
The small town businesses often have deals generally with individual cops, although it can be with the entire department to get like free coffee or whatever anytime they come in.
Yeah.
But this isn't something that ends when they end their shift. It's just free coffee.
Yeah. I know. I worked in a convenience store and they would be coming in off duty, and I actually got told I'm supposed to tell them, if you're not working, you can't have it. And it made those cops mad at me.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying is here, at least the two locations I know of that do this, it doesn't matter if you're on duty or off duty, or if you used to be a cop or was a youth police representative or anything. They don't care. As long as you've got some association with law enforcement. Like even the trustees at the prison, when they get out of prison, because they were out doing stuff so much with the cops, they get free freaking coffee. Like it's not uncommon, because coffee costs nothing to maintain. The people that are there are going to maintain it anyway, and so it's the cup. It's the cup. And one of the ways that they get around this is they give these people a special permanent cup. You bring the cup, you get free coffee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
Don't usually.
Yeah, I almost worked out my whole PTSD over cops working at that last convenience store, because it was the main, it's a very small town we're in right now. And they would come in, and a couple of them were friendly enough. And so I slowly worked my way back to not having a reaction just by being around them. Until one of them did something else to me. And that mother truck sucker was getting a drink one night right after he had done what he did. And I was so mad. I'm just sitting there squinching my eyes, muttering under my breath. He turned around and said, "You better shut that mouth or I'll take you to jail right now."
They're the words. They're the words.
Motherfuckers.
Who's doing all that drinking, ATL? You want a link? Oh, hell, I reckon I was already supposed to drop the link, wasn't I? Yep, that's the way that's supposed to work. I'm sorry.
We in the after party now?
Yeah, basically.
You didn't do any fancy thing to shut it down.
I'm going to finish this video here before I go into the weird things.
Okie dokie.
Because, and I don't know
cool.
how
I got
many.
a couple of weird things too. That's going to work out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We get a preview of what kind of weird trash you got going on, what it is.
Nope.
Okay.
pulling out of her subdivision heading into work. The 7 Action News investigators are right on her tail. Why? Because it's almost 11 o'clock as she walks into the courthouse. She was supposed to be in at 8:30, and her first case was on the docket for 9. This is
so from 9 to 11, and you know she's not going to get started probably till noon, right?
Crazy.
And then it's lunchtime. So she's going to put it off till about 2, and then she's going to rush through like 10 cases as fast as possible.
Yeah,
So
which makes you wonder what kind of judge is she being?
Terrible. She's been a terrible judge. She's just labeling everybody guilty of everything and forcing the system to deal with it.
Damn.
She's basically just settling down the road to the next step. I think I'm just going to leave that one up there for a while.
The injustice system.
ATL, if you can figure out how to make them their link thingy work, you're welcome to come up here. And if you can't figure out how to work it, I'll send you I'll email you the link. That might work. Although I have had it break after a certain amount of time and no one could come up. Right? A horrible judge. Who could have figured? You mean a judge that believes they can do anything they want to do?
You watching that What the Hell stuff?
We got an echo.
All right, I think I'm up there now.
Yeah, you're here. We got you in here. Let me find your channel icon right quick.
Y'all watching that What the Hell DUI guy drama stuff playing out?
I have not.
Yeah, the DUI guy just got himself all embroiled in Jeremy Hale's Florida Judge Levy County craziness. This judge has put all kind of restrictions on Jeremy to where he can't even go to his own house down the road. It's just ridiculous. He hadn't even been convicted of anything, and it's all bullshit what he's charged with. So it's crazy.
What's your freaking channel name, dude? There it is. I got it. Not bad.
I know. We see cops thank God for video recorders on everyone's phone. We see how outrageous the police act all the time. Just so outside the law. Do people really think that a judge acts any differently than a cop? It's just they've made so many laws to protect them from the law that the whole damn system is shot.
You're not wrong. You are not wrong at all.
So, I don't want to hear any bickering and crying from their asses when it comes down to their doorstep.
Wham, a cop. You gotta be nice to me. Respect my daughter.
Oh my God, it's insane, isn't it?
It is a little wonky. I'm gonna give you point of precedence because it looks good. Right?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just makes
Purple.
it look better.
It's eye-catching.
I just like the way it fits, to be honest. Anyway, so we're checking out these
You're getting
cops.
clever with this.
Do what?
You're getting clever with the with your animations and things.
Yes, he's a clever little Sasquatch.
Somebody once called me a wizard.
He's a fucking wizard.
Right? Isn't that what we're here for? And depending on what type of a live stream you tend to do, what type of a show you do, this format may be the best thing that ever happened to you, or it might not. It kind of depends on the people that watch your usual content. If your usual content is live streams and they've been watching it on their computer or their TV, they're not going to like this transition. But if most of your subscribers are shorts people, like they are in my case, almost 2/3, 3/4 of my subscribers come directly from the shorts algorithm. I figured, why shouldn't I take advantage of that very simple premise?
Absolutely. I've been seeing people in the short feed that were live and but I hadn't really, looked into how the fuck that was all working out.
Right. So, I mean, it just seemed like a no-brainer to me. I've been trying to talk because there's a bit of a weirdness in dealing with OBS and StreamYard and going from portrait mode to the normal screen. I'm trying to convince everyone that I usually stream with to convert into the live stream feed mode, this format, mainly because it gives me more freedom. And when I get, like, if you started a stream, sent me a link and I joined it, and I did it before I reset my OBS, when I go into your live stream, it's going to be weirdly stretched. And when I come back out, and I don't know why or how this happens, when I come back into my stream, it's going to be restretched again. The only way to fix it that I found is to go through and restretch it in both directions until you figure out which direction it's stretched and unstretch it. You got to backwards back out, which means you've got to start StreamYard, go in, alter the frame to the right size, back out, reload StreamYard, go back in and put it on the right size again so that it backs it back down out of that stretch. It's so weird.
That gave me Windows 95, 98 vibes so hard.
Right? Yes. No, you're not wrong. It's something like that, but it's like the auto fit. When it goes to auto fit for the screen, if you do it in the wrong direction, if you set up the vertical screen before you turn it portrait mode, it stretches it to fit portrait mode, even though it's already in portrait mode.
Yeah, I used to have to reset whatever the fuck that is, how many colors and how many the screen is. I used to have to reset that with certain games I played and stuff.
Right. I asked this last time I was live, and I'm gonna keep asking it until I find somebody that played this game. There used to be a Facebook game called Dragons of Atlantis, and I took over a server pretty much single-handedly. Me and about 12 other people just locked down the entire server, and I want to find those people because I thought they were cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've got some people I used to play dragons with or hang out with on Yahoo 360. I kind of wish I could find them.
Right, dude. Those early Facebook games were the fucking shit. Some of them.
Pet Society. Oh God, I loved Pet Society so much. I have so many on my Facebook photos. I've got so many screenshots, and I made little movies of them going to visit their friends and stuff. It was crazy.
All right, let's go on with the video. We got about another hour, 30 minutes of this, and then we're going to go to full panel mode, and we'll see what happens there, right?
This is a chronic thing. She leaves people waiting virtually every day for hours. Lots of people. Prosecutors, defense attorneys, clerks, social workers, parents, and kids. People like this guy whose son ran afoul of the law were hiding his identity because his kid's still under her thumb.
Good night, my
We had to show up at 9 o'clock, and then she wouldn't show up until she felt like it, 12:30 in the afternoon. So my attorney I had to get rid of because of the cost. I couldn't pay him for 3 hours to sit there.
That's true. I can definitely relate to this guy.
Right. You imagine if you hired an attorney and you run through your entire savings before you ever talk to the judge?
Fucking terrifying.
Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. ATL, do you have any crackers?
I'm chewing on some Girl Scout cookies.
That's the man.
Yeah, the Girl Scout cookies are selling again.
Oh,
the eyes right there.
About 10 boxes.
He'll have diabetes by the end of the week.
Oh, no doubt. A little extra insulin, a couple extra cookies.
Yep. Whenever I was going through my divorce, my attorney charged me $250 an hour. Just imagine how much this guy spent just to sit around because she didn't show up on time and showed up whenever she wanted to.
Judge Gibson makes $140,000 a year as a Wayne County juvenile court judge, and it's clear that taxpayers aren't getting their money's worth. We tracked her for 5 days straight. and she's a habitual slacker. Monday, October 15th, she strolls in at 10:42 a.m. The next day, October 16th, arrives at 10:38 a.m. October 17th at 10:58. October 18th, 10:30 a.m. And October 19th, 10:05 a.m. On all 5 of those days, she had cases on her docket at 9 a.m. and left folks waiting. Gibson started.
Okay, so how much money did the DAs and lawyers and county just make just based off the fact that she didn't show up to work?
Yeah.
Or am I missing something? Do they not get paid if she doesn't show up? They all get paid, right?
They get paid.
It's amazing because, if you show up to work like that all the time, you're going to get your ass fired. But if you work for the government, it's like nothing. You could do nothing wrong.
Especially if you get hired to be a judge. I mean, what's that called? Voted. If they vote you in as a judge, you can't just get fired because you're doing a bad job.
Yeah. Madness. It's all
like
madness.
the sheriff. Sheriffs get voted in so that you can't hardly fuck with a sheriff either.
Yeah. And this is a blade that cuts both ways, because if you get a really good sheriff, it's a really good thing. If you get a bad sheriff, it's a really, really, really bad thing.
Good luck getting a good cop, period.
Yeah, I think, it's unless you know how to file the right paperwork to start suing them in court, you got to stay off their radar. It's I just don't, if you read all the history books, I don't see how this is any different from the 1920s and 1930s. I don't know.
It's very simple. There's a lot of similarity to it, except instead of it being a racial deviation, it seems to be something more political, more of a haves and haves nots than a left or right. It's almost like they're trying to institute a caste system. You work for the government or you don't work at all.
I don't think it's that organized. It's more of a subconscious thing.
Well, they're run by the money, and when the money runs everything, it's not the people.
Yeah, you don't really have to have a conjoined plane. What was it? George Carlin said the top 10 richest people in the world don't have to sit down and have a conversation to plan to screw you. They can individually screw you, and you are just as screwed as if there was a huge conspiracy when there's not.
Yeah, and it isn't, it's just, I mean, you could talk all
it's a club, and you ain't in it. I ain't in it. ATL ain't in it. And AJOT ain't in it. But we all know somebody who's signing up for the club currently.
Well, the bad thing about it is, the thing that annoys me about it, I could care less if it was just a live and let live kind of thing. But it's the idea that they've adopted that if you disagree with them, you're an immoral person. That's where I get under my skin. I could care less about the law part of it, but it's the perception that they pump out there with their PR departments that it's not just a law, you're immoral.
Their justification for unpersoning the citizens is based on the concept of morality, but it's a twisted sense of morality. They juxtapose law and policy over personal morality and responsibility.
Well, and that's the thing about inalienable rights, and the whole idea that our system is based in Judeo-Christianity, and that gives us our moral compass.
Wait, I'm sorry, dude. You said Judeo-Christianity, and I saw Jesus throwing Sakiba.
I did too. He was wearing one of them white things with a black belt.
Right? He had a gi on. He's like, He's like,
but you know what I'm talking. It's what they've done is they've thrown out that entire template, and they're saying, no, I am the inalienable right. I'm the inalienable that gives you that right.
Well, they want to juxtapose the Constitution deriving from the government versus the tenets of the Constitution deriving from a creator. They don't get to take these rights because you physically can't. You can't stop a man from talking without cutting out his tongue. And you don't cut his tongue out because you don't like you don't cut his tongue out unless you are afraid of what he might say. Pretty sure that was a song of the Game of Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones. Almost certain that was Game of Thrones.
Yeah, but I mean that's why, they trespass you from public places.
Right.
They don't make appointments to see your elected officials. They restrict your speech at every turn to silence you. And they use the police to enforce these unlawful orders.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I mean, no cop is going to give up their $60,000 to $100,000 a year because you know what? All that guy has is a high school diploma and a bunch of courses he took at the police academy. Right. So it isn't like he has, something to back him up where he could go get a job at an engineering firm and create something. No, he can't. These people cannot create.
I just had a thought. You know how we have these prisoner release programs where the prisoners can learn some kind of a vocational skill to help them when they get out of prison?
Yeah.
Maybe we have a police release program where they learn a vocational skill to help them when they get out.
I mean, or at least make them qualify for the programs that are like that exist already, for real. Mm-hmm. I told this one little coward cop that pulled a taser on me, which was crazy because I'm a pacifist. He pulls a taser on me, and at one point I was like, you need to go get a job at McDonald's because apparently you're scared. And then I found out McDonald's is a more dangerous place to work than being a policeman.
There's this kid that got a job up here at the Waffle House, and he did his first night shift the other day, and he was standing in there at like freaking 2:00 in the afternoon or whatever, and oh baby, I got to see your face because I'm not going to believe it unless I can seize it.
Well, I like that sausage bowl over at the Waffle House.
Yeah, is it good to you? Okay, that's good enough, bro. All right. Toe, baby, what's up?
Hashtag Team Edward.
I know, man. I know, Sparkle Simp. You're over there trying to suckle some cold, dead, vampire dead. You're a necrophiliac, you freak.
That's what I ended up telling that taser coward cop. Because I said something about him having a little bitty pee-pee, and he said, your mom liked it. I said, my mom been dead for 10 years. She's a box of ashes in the ground. You're a necrophiliac, you sick fuck.
Why don't you show your face? Who's speaking there?
We got Snarkin' Sass over here. She's the big pink spot right next to me. That's her channel thing. I
knew it Snarkin' Sass, but why doesn't she show her face?
Because in order to do that, in order to do what I'm doing, I have to have the whole screen. So I'm using your icons in place of your camera. Everybody but Toad represented. Let's get this happening.
You've seen me before, silly.
With your little star. Don't be what is that? A tiara? What is that called? Tiara.
I did have a tiara for a minute.
Yeah, I remember the tiara you wore. I had something more to say there, but I got cut off with my mind.
Okay, that's probably.
Oh, bother. Oh, there it is. Let's
How's my audio, dude? Does it suck?
It's a little bit crispy, but it's fine.
You know, Snark and Sass was the only one that picked up on my references to Germanic music.
Was it Germanic music?
Mm-hmm.
Was it Celtic?
No.
I remember something like that happening. I just don't remember the details. That's kind of how my memory works.
Well, I try to put a theme of some kind of a musician into all of my, clips and everything else. I think you were the only one that ever picked up on anything that wasn't mainstream.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Leave it to me. I definitely pick up on stuff that most people don't, but I get tired of writing "Happy Fuck the Cops Day" in the comments. So sometimes I just go for what's totally different about it.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I got blocked on Audit the Audit's channel from commenting, so I had to do a little campaign of please. I apologize. Please give me a second chance. And now I'm scared to even leave any messages in there. They did let me back in though. He unblocked me, so that was nice.
Audit the Audits blocked you?
That is the way it look. That's what I figured out. I couldn't comment anywhere in his stuff nowhere.
You just wiped it off.
Yeah, it wasn't there whenever I went to look at it. It wasn't there anymore. So
never got a response and it just vanished.
Yeah, it just was gone. So so Citizen Knot put out a plea saying that community friend Snark and Sass is so sorry. She understands that though her feelings might be vindicated or whatever, that she can't say that shit.
Hold on a second. Toe, unmute and talk.
Yes.
Now say rubber baby buggy bumpers.
Suck a water winning hill, haha.
Okay, your sound's fine.
Is that fire getting anywhere near you, or is it like hours
Thanks,
away?
Love you long time.
There's another fire.
Well, AJ said it was pretty far, but I was wondering if it was traveling their way or not.
He's already gone.
All right.
It'd be like that though.
Our time isn't the only problem. We also caught her bailing out early. Check out the hours on the door. Court goes till 4:30, but here she is hitting the road at 4:05. She worked 5 hours and 26 minutes on this day, and that was her longest day in 5 days we watched her come and go.
6 days in, our investigation took an unexpected turn. Our producer was up in that second floor window taking her picture as she walked in late.
Courthouse sources tell us she spotted our producer. She knew someone was checking up on her, but didn't know who. So did that scare her straight? She just changed up her routine, abandoning her reserved parking spot and hiding her car in this spot, reserved for skilled tradesmen. I don't know if she's a skilled tradesman, but she certainly is skilled at finagling a short workday. We followed her again and watched her pull into her secret spot at 20 minutes to 10. When we returned at 2 p.m., her car was gone. At 2:15, she pulled into her subdivision and went into her home. 3 p.m., she heads out again, and we follow her north into Ferndale. The courthouse is in the opposite direction.
Then another strange turn. It was obvious she spotted us tailing her. She pulled into this parking space, kind of cockeyed. We kept driving and let her go.
A few minutes later, we found her car back at the courthouse, but not for long. It's 4:14. 15 minutes before quitting time, another 5-hour day. Sources tell us this has been going on for years. Everybody knows it's been going on, and it's a running joke in the courthouse with people guessing what time she'll show up. So how does she get away with it?
I will tell you this. She gets away with it because the clerk, the court staff, the sheriff's deputies, they're all paid to be there, and we're not. They don't care what time she shows up because they're getting paid either way. That's why.
There's no accountability down there. And, I'm accountable. You're accountable. We all need to be accountable.
Time for an unscheduled accountability session, a sidebar with the judge. When she sees me coming, she tries to hightail it.
Your Honor, I'd like to ask you some questions about your work hours. You're a little late, aren't you?
Finally, she rolls her window down, but she doesn't want to talk about her short work days.
My mother passed, and her birthday was it's not a good day for me. It's not really.
Well, I'm sorry about that, but your work
Birthday
hours
and mom died.
standard. You're not working 8 hours a day. We've been watching.
Right.
Not just died, not just her birthday, but she died on her birthday.
I want to ask everybody in chat this question, including both people up here. Now, I know a lot of people aren't doing work days currently, but when you were doing a work day, did you spend very much time from start to finish just kind of eating lunch and taking breaks and sitting in the bathroom? And you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, that's not the way work goes.
That's not the way work's supposed to go, but how much of that type of crap do you reckon she does?
Apparently, she don't do shit. And she still gets paid too.
Yep. Full mint. License to print money.
Sad.
It is.
Watching, Your Honor, we have video to show it. Okay. You've been working 5-hour days most days. People are waiting in your courtroom for 2 hours. She mumbled something and drove off.
Man, I've seen cops do the walk of shame. I've seen cops do the drive of shame. But I have to admit, this is the first time I've seen a judge do the drive of shame.
Then was escorted into the building by 2 sheriff's deputies.
I'd like to see her do her job. Show up and respect everybody else the way she's getting paid for it. Show up at 9 o'clock like the rest of the court.
A Michigan Supreme Court rule says a definite time must be set for all court sessions, and the judge shall promptly open a session. But there's no mechanism for tracking a judge's work hours. A Supreme Court spokesperson told us there are no system.
Music videos.
Virgil
Welcome
Smith
in.
is the
Good
chief
to see ya.
judge presiding over the Third Circuit that includes the juvenile court. We asked Smith who holds judges accountable. He said the public does because judges are subject to an election. He said we would hold them accountable through our investigation. He said he looked forward to watching our story and holding them accountable too. We'll let you know what happens.
Scott, that undercover video you got really didn't leave much wiggle room.
Well, it sure didn't, Glenda. We had the goods on her, coming in late, leaving early, averaging about 4 hours a day or 5 sometimes. Not only was she shortchanging the taxpayer, she was wasting a lot of people's time, folks who were in her courtroom waiting and waiting and waiting for her to show up.
Your Honor, I'd like to ask you some questions about your work hours. You're a little late, aren't you?
Last November, the investigators had an unscheduled accountability session with Judge Sheila Gibson in the courthouse parking lot. We wanted to know why the Wayne County Juvenile Court judge making $140,000 a year was being paid for 8 hours a day, but working only about 5 on most days.
Now, let's pause for just a second and do the math on this. So if she works 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, that's 25 work hours a week. But she makes $140,000 a year. So if you take 25 work hours a week times 52 weeks, that's 1,300 work hours. If you take $140,000 and divide that by 1,300 work hours for the year, she makes $107 an hour. Think about that.
She was showing up for work up to 3 hours late, leaving people waiting in her courtroom. Lots of people, prosecutors, defense attorneys, clerks, social workers, parents, and kids. She was also ducking out early. We had it all documented on our undercover video. We tailed Gibson for 5 days straight, and the longest day she put in was 5.5 hours. We got onto this outrageous routine after a tip from this dad, whose son was in front of the judge.
There's no accountability down there. And, I'm accountable. You're accountable. We all need to be accountable.
My mother passed, and her birthday was it's not a good day for me. It's not really.
Well, I'm sorry about that, but your work hours are not standard. You're not working 8 hours a day. We've been watching, Your Honor. We have video to show it. The judge had no explanation for us, and she didn't have one either when the Judicial Tenure Commission came calling. Today, the commission released this decision and recommendation that'll be sent to the Michigan Supreme Court. It says Gibson negotiated a settlement agreement, essentially admitting to what we reported. It asked the court to publicly censure the judge. That's basically a reprimand and a permanent stain on her record. The commission report was based entirely on what we reported in our investigation last November. The commission found that Judge Gibson violated the Judicial Code of Conduct and noted that she had no regard for the value of time of other people who were in her courtroom. They said they hope this will remind other judges that punctuality is not just a matter of good etiquette and civil behavior, but good ethical behavior as well. Judge Gibson's attorney, Brian Einhorn, told us censure was something that she agreed to, and he said, this is not going to happen again. Juvenile Court Judge Sheila Gibson was just a tad late for work this morning, and believe it or not, she still didn't put in a full day, even after being exposed last night by the investigators. But her work schedule today was an improvement over the repeated 5-hour work days we caught her in our undercover camera investigation earlier. We tracked Judge Gibson for 5 days straight in October. She didn't put in a single 8-hour day. Worse yet, she was late every morning, up to 2 hours late, and left lots of people waiting in her courtroom, wasting their time and money. It's become a running joke at the court, with people inside guessing when she'll show up. Judge Gibson is pulling down $140,000, and the taxpayers are getting shortchanged.
Your Honor, I'd like to ask you some questions about your work hours.
When we confronted her, she didn't have much to say.
My mother passed, and her birthday was it's not a good day for me.
But our story last night had some impact. She arrived at the courthouse just after 9 this morning, a little late, but not like it was before our story. Judge Gibson had cases scheduled to go at 9 a.m., and they were called only 20 minutes late. That's much better than the 2 hours late we saw when we had her under surveillance in October. She left work at 3:35 as a 7 Action News intern shot video with his cell phone from a public sidewalk. Still only a 6.5-hour day, Judge. You can bet we're going to keep watching. All right.
Yeah. It's exactly what you think.
A juvenile court judge. This is fucking with children's futures and shit. God damn.
It's not just children's futures. It's messing with like literally every single person who walks through there, whether they work there or they just have to be there for any particular reason. You know, it really screws the pooch on it. There's not a whole lot that you can do about it, right?
Well,
you get arrested, you have to go to court, or something happens and you have to be at court to deal with something with your kids, and you go up there and you sit there for 2.5 hours, and then they do all the traffic tickets, and then they do all the overnights, and then they do all the drunks, and then they do all the drug charges, and then they do all the, you know what I'm saying? And by the time they get around to you, you have to come in the next day, and they got to start with yesterday's traffic tickets. And it's just a big pain in the ass. You're liable to go up there a few days in a row and not get your freaking case heard because she's not putting in the work.
It's just disgusting.
ATL?
Yeah.
Yeah. What you think about it?
Well, I kind of zoned out there for a second. Give me a reason. Yeah, rescoop.
Judge ain't putting in the work. She's putting in 4 or 5 hours a day, and basically claiming she's doing 8 hours of work.
You know, the bad part is not that she's ripping off the court. The bad part is, you know, the civilians are paying lawyers, and now they're going to have to bill more hours to their clients. So you got these, you know, low-income people spending money on lawyers they can't afford, and now they have to spend more money because
that's why I call it lawfare. That is exactly why I call it lawfare. They are utilizing the legal system to impoverish you below the ability to actually defend yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you're there at the right time and everything else, and the judge doesn't show up, you could have the case, depending on how much time, you could have your case dismissed because you have a right to a speedy trial.
Right, that's true. But do you expect actually do that trash? I mean, they just go for a continuance, or they'll pass it over to another judge, and the judge will pass it back, and they'll just take it.
And then the regular person is going to be intimidated and sit back and let them do that. But at that point, before they start doing all that, You have to say, hey, I object.
Right.
I showed up at the right time. I've waited. I've spent the time. I have the right to a speedy trial. I want this dismissed. Before they reschedule it for you, you got to tell them you don't agree to the reschedule. You know, you did what you were supposed to do, and she's not doing what she's supposed to do, and she's, you know, violating ethical and legal issues.
Right. But
Yeah.
you have to have the legal wherewithal to be able to get that far through the system to be able to say that in the first place, you know?
You have to have somebody that's in authority that's willing to hear some shit like that, because most of the judges are just puppets and they just do whatever they want anyway. They think their little robe gives them God powers, and they don't even have to follow the laws.
See, if you have a decent lawyer and a judge pulls that, the lawyer who's there that you're paying needs to stand up and say something. And if he doesn't, he's not a good lawyer, and he's looking just to milk you out of a few more bucks. You know, it's a sad thing.
Yeah, I got told I couldn't bring my evidence in to my own trial, so they can all F off.
Wait, did you get rescheduled?
No, I got convicted.
You actually got a conviction?
Yeah, I'm convicted. I pay him. But
What did you
that
get?
doesn't mean that they aren't suffering at my hand because I chopped the walk.
What did you get convicted of?
Bunch of dumb shit. Trying to bring my evidence into court.
May I have a moment?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the end of this particular part of the show. We're going to go backstage and throw us a party. Snark's going to twerk. I'm going to get ATL to show us his A-cups, and we're going to find out about those cookies. So, ATL, do you have another cookie?
I am fresh out. I have eaten all of them.
Oh, my God. Do you have anything crunchy at all? Snark, do you have anything crunchy?
I have half a gummy somewhere.
That's not going to do it, babe.
Dude, I don't know. I woke up thinking that it was Saturday morning at 7 o'clock tonight.
All right, cool. So here's what I want you to do to ATL. For the next 30 seconds, I want you to crinkle that there thing you got in your hands while I now you got to unmute first. All right, bud. Thank you. I appreciate it. There we go. All right. I appreciate everybody coming in. Get out of here.
King Jones going to reach Frisco. King Jones, but they'll all be dead.
Well, I say every day I'm just getting closer to taking a bath with my fucking toaster.
Lorenzo will give you the details.
A few moments later.
What are the humans doing?
Do you think you're ready? Can you handle the truth? Or are you in denial? Demanding more proof? They demonstrate in real-time how they're spinning your lights, but no one pays attention, no one opens their eyes. They walk around like zombies with their head in a mobile, signaling their virtues with a pick on their profile. Yeah.